Hey, what's up, guys? It's nice not talking to any of you since I'm going to be doing this recording just, by myself. So that sometimes can get awkward conversation-wise, but, I'll try to do my best. Also, just a pre-warning before I get into it. I had four other coaching sessions today, so this is going to be 6 hours, and that does a number on your voice. So I'm going to be talking a little bit quieter, just so I can maybe preserve it whole way through, and then hopefully I'll be able to go the whole 2 hours. But we'll have to see it as comes along here. Um, how I think it's going to work out, how I think I'm going to approach this is since I'm doing two 2 hour sessions, one today and then one tomorrow morning. This first session is going to be the team play session, and then the next session is going to be me going through each of you individually. Now, of course, there's going to be some individual things that I mention if I just see them because someone needs feeding or whatever, right? Then I'll mention it. But I'm going to be particularly looking at kind of the team play for this 2 hours, and then for the next 2 hours, I'll be looking at everyone individually. So, as I can't ask, can't ask you guys any questions and you can't ask me any questions. I'm just going to go ahead and start it right away here. But if any of you have any questions after I'm done, feel free to message me directly, or I guess none of you have my contact info, but whoever ordered the session, which was Havoc, which I don't know what his in-game name is here. But Havoc on Discord does have my contact info, and it's TBOOGY to boogie hashtag 6149. If you guys just want to message me to ask me questions afterwards, and yeah, we just can go ahead and get started then. Actually, before I even get started, I think a good place to start, because again, it's unfortunate I can't really ask you guys directly if you are familiar with any of the concepts I'm going to be talking about. So just forgive me if I'm just spouting out information because I can't see if you guys are if you guys know the information I'm saying or not. So I'm going to go with the assumption that you don't. Now, everything that I'm saying might be applicable to one or more of you, but just keep in mind that you also might know it, right? So if you're the one person who knows it, keep in mind it might be applicable to the other 5 people, right, that I'm talking with here. So the first thing I'm actually going to go over is comm role theory, right, and kind of how comm roles work in a team environment. Now, I actually I don't even know if this is like a scrim environment or a ranked. If you guys are just six stacking ranked, but either way, it'd be a good idea to try to implement comm roles. So what I mean by that is attempting to do both. Basically ult tracking and ult planning, right? So ult tracking is the process of guessing what ultimates the enemy team will have in the next fight. Ult planning is the process of looking to plan what ultimates we're going to be using in this next fight, right? So I'll walk through how those work, and then what you guys can do is assign those roles to two different people usually, right? Could be pretty much you guys can just ask amongst yourselves who's most interested in it. Of course, you can volunteer for it, or you can just test it out among yourselves and see like who does best at it. And of course, if you don't want to, go ahead and ignore everything I'm saying here if you don't feel like the effort is worth it. But this would be very, very helpful because it can really coordinate you guys and help you to get better in the ult game. So basically, let me just walk you through this first. It's a 3-step process. You have ult tracking, which comes first. You have ult countering, which comes second. And you have ult planning, which comes third. Ult countering actually comes in between the two. Or sorry, I said the wrong thing there. Ult countering can be done by either the ult tracker or the ult planner. Either or does it. You guys can assign it to which one you want. So let's start off with ult tracking. Ult tracking is basically a process of elimination at which you are guessing what what ults the enemy team will have. So that means that the first thing you're doing after every single fight of the game, whether or not you won the fight or lost the fight, is pressing tab. Now here we're going to use team 1 to represent your team's ults, and the enemy team's ults. We're going to say this is the enemy team, right? We're going to scan the team comp, go left to right, and we're going to go, okay, last fight I saw or heard that we used Hoggle, we used Sigma Flux, and we used Cole, right? So because we know that they just used those three, they're not going to have them for the next fight, and that means that those are eliminated. Now they just swapped from a soldier to a Doomfist. So that means that that ult is fresh. It's at 0 or 10 or whatever, right? And they won't have that either. Now, we weren't paying attention, so we can ask our team, or so maybe we weren't paying attention because we were dead, or we were respawning, or we just couldn't see it or hear it. So we ask our team, hey, do they have High Noon or Nano, right? So your team says, yeah, they used Nano that fight. So now we know through process of elimination, because we saw them use every other ultimate here, right, that the only ult that they have left is High Noon for this next fight. Now you do this after every single fight. This is going to allow you to move on to the next 2 steps. This is going to allow you to counter those ultimates, and it's going to allow you to come up with a plan for the fight, right? So it's real important to know because a ton of different ultimates are really important to counter. So let's take the enemy team. I went with you guys, but let's take the enemy team comp because they have some really big ult combos here. So now we're looking at team 2 on the top right of the screen, right? Um, Basically, when we're looking at that comp, the second step after we track it, let's just say, for example, they have 6 ults here. After we track it, now we have to come up with a plan because with the current comp that we have, they're going to roll us through because we don't have any defensive ults, right? If we're not coming up with any plan, they have a grab, they have a blade, and they have a shatter, that all of which can do kind of wreck us if we don't be careful through them. So ult countering is the process of which we counter the ults because we just say, hey, they have grav. Now what's our plan? What are we doing against the grav? We have to have some plan. So that's where where ult countering comes into play. Ult countering would say, okay, they have a grav. Make sure that we are playing split, right? This works for grav, this works for shatter. If you guys are playing all spread out and you're not on top of each other, then grav can only hit 1 or 2 people, and hopefully that'll be the tanks too, who are the easiest to pocket, right? If you guys are all playing together, you're all dead. Same thing with shatter. Play split, and that means that it's actually not going to affect too many of you, right? Even if you do get shattered. So on top of that, just alerting your Sigma to the fact that he has to block shatter is very useful. And then let's say blade, right? We have to counter blade. Well, we don't have any defensive ults, so how are we going to get the Genji? Well, there's a ton of other things that counter Blade, right? Whole Hog counters Blade. Sigma Flux can counter Blade here. You could Nano High Noon to counter the Blade, or even just normal High Noon if he's far enough away, right? So you have a couple things that we can use to stop the Blade, as well as just stunning, because we have 5 different stuns. We have Hook, we have Rock, we have Doom Punch, we have McCree Flashbang, and we have Sleep. So we can do any number of those. We can use a tank ult, we can High Noon it, or we can just chain stun him. So we have a ton of different options here. We just want to make sure we're coming up with some sort of plan, because if we don't come up with any plan at all, then he's just going to rip through your team and you're going to die. So that's what the importance of step 1 and 2. Now we're on to step 3, ult planning, right? We're planning what ultimates are we going to use for this next fight. So now let's go, let's honestly stay with team 2 here for the example, because like I said, they have a ton of good ult combos, right? Now, ult planning does a few different things. First off, this can stop you from over ulting. Let's say you have 6 ults. I can't ask you this question, so I'm going to ask it rhetorically. What happens when you use 6 ults? Well, I'll tell you what happens when you use 6 ults in a fight. You lose the next fight because you don't have any ults and they have ults. So that means that you don't want to use 6 ults in one fight most of the time, right? So ult planning can say, okay, instead of using 6 ults, let's use 2 or 3 ults, right? So you're intentionally getting your team to not use all of them. The other thing that ult planning can do is help to combo ultimates and time them correctly. So comboing ultimates could look something like this, where maybe we don't have a nano for our blade, so we might want to combo blade with grav, right? If that's a combo that we can go for. We also would say something like, make sure you're giving Genji the Zarya bubble and giving him Zenyatta orb, right? That way he can, go in with it. You could do something like this where you say, okay, Echo, copy the Ana, right? Echo copies Ana, and then that way we can go for a Nano Blade, right? You have a bunch of different things that you can work with here, right? You could, let's see, what are some other ones? Because you could probably do a bunch with the Echo copy, right? You could have Echo copy and Nano Reinhardt, right? You could have Echo go Sigma, and then do a flux and then into a blade or something of the sort, right? Ult comboing is basically you're trying to get the maximum value out of all your ultimates, which doesn't happen if you're not communicating it and thinking about it. If you're not communicating and thinking about it, then you guys are just going to go in, use 6 ults, and not combo anything at all, right? Which is going to be a lot less efficient, and it's also going to mean that you're over ulting, right? So that's some of the value that come out of ult planning. Now, that's a whole lot of information right off the start. Don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. If you want, just start off with the ult tracking and go from there. Do it kind of one step at a time. Do ult tracking. Then once you got ult tracking down, move on to ult countering. And then once you got ult countering down, move on to ult planning. Give each, like I said before, you can try to find out who would be the best or wants to do each of those roles, and then on top of that, help them out. Right, remind your teammates. Like if you're done the fight, say, oh, okay, you just say, you can just say ults. This is what I did all the time back when I was on a team. I just, the fight would be done, I just say, okay, ults, right? That way, you reminding your teammates to think about it, right? And then the other thing you guys can all do is help out with the ult tracking process. Like I said before, if they forget anything after they're done, add it in, right? If they are done ult tracking and you're like, oh yeah, they also used high noon, right? They also used flux, right? You just add it in, let them know. That way you can assist with the ult tracking process because 6 eyes are better than 1 eye, right? So now all of that's out of the way. You guys can figure that out, sort it out. Feel free to go back and just rewatch that if you feel like you didn't get it the first time around. Now we're gonna get into some of the team play. All right. Oh, and I did not mean to skip that far. I meant to 2 times it. All right, so right now we are on a Roadhog Sigma. Okay, and then a... Wait, I'm looking at the wrong comp here. Okay, so we're on the defense here. So we're on Roadhog, Sigma, Moira, Doomfist, Kree, Ana. So we're kind of a mix between a brawl comp and a spam comp. If I need to, I'll go into depth on compositions and how different compositions work at some point. But for now, I'm just stating this to myself. They are on a Ryan, Zarya, Genji, Moira, which is mostly a brawl comp with a Zen and a Echo. So they're right now looking a little bit more brawly than our comp is. So we might want to play a little bit further back, play a little bit of a spammy comp. All right. Get into position. Allow me to repair the damage. All right, looking really good so far. Not much happening, but we're down on Moira. How did our Moira die? Did she just get spammed out there? Might be good to do this. All right, Moira's on our left here. Oh, snap. She just kind of got blown up. All right, make sure standing behind the shield, though. Okay, I'm noticing a lot of the time we're having a lot of people run up ahead of the shields. Make sure that in general you guys are trying to stick behind your Sigma shield, because before Moira was ahead of the shield, now McCree's ahead of the shield, and then as a result, both times you guys died, right? And then obviously deaths are real bad. I don't need to emphasize that point too much. Hopefully, deaths aren't good. You guys are gonna lose this fight because you're down a bunch of people, and both of the deaths that happened were because you guys just stepped way too far forwards. Make sure you're not stepping that close, and you're keeping a healthy distance, and you're staying behind your tanks and your shields, and you're going to be fine. Alright, let's just watch some more of this. Okay, nano targets. Sigma's not too terrible, though I probably would say that Doomfist is a better nano target than the Sigma is in this situation. Doomfist, Sigma usually, he requires skill shots, right? Like, he's required to hit his mechanical shots to do anything, but Doomfist's abilities are a lot easier to land. On top of that, Doomfist is probably, like, Doomfist has to go inside of their team to do stuff, right? Doomfist, therefore, is going to be taking more damage than the Sigma, and is going to get more value out of the damage reduction that Nano gives him. So Doomfist is a pretty fantastic Nano target, and Sigma here, we probably want to be nanoing the Doomfist as he gets aggressive. Okay, good picks. Okay, I'm noticing a lot of hog hook misses. Now, I'm not doing anything one-on-one so far, but you just make sure you're paying attention to your hog hooks and you're looking to hit more of those, because a lot of them are hitting shields at the moment. All right, so why don't we talk about team compositions here, because you guys are playing a pretty wacky team comp, and I can explain why, and then how that kind of hurts you guys, and it means it makes it a little bit hard on you. But I guess, yeah, to just basically right here. Let me just open this up real quick. I believe the stream can see that. Yeah, okay, the stream can see that, or whatever, the recording. This is a rough team chart list, right? This is all the team comps in the game, the 3 main team comps. Any meta that has been in the game has been one of these comps in some variety, right? Hybrid is going to be any team comp that is just like kind of a ranked comp that doesn't really have too much to it. It's kind of everyone's doing their own thing and they're not playing really under any particular range or pacing. Dive, of course, is going to be when you have. I'm just gonna, in case ever I can't ask you, so I'm gonna assume that you guys don't know what these are, unfortunately, because I can't ask. But I'm just gonna explain them real quick. Dive is like a monkey diva ball, right? It's gonna have a Genji, Tracer, Doomfist, Echo, right? Lucio, Ana, Zenyatta, right? And Mercy, right? All make up dive characters. Those are any fast characters. They start off far away and they dive in close, and they basically play really slow to start off, and then as they get picks and as they get ults, now they're playing faster and faster. Now, Brawl and Spam is where it gets very one-dimensional, and that's what we're mainly looking at here. Brawl comp, or let's start with Spam. Spam is any long distance comp, so that's going to be your Orisa, Sigma, Roadhog. That's what we're running right now. We're running Spam tanks, right? Because Sigma and Roadhog are Spam tanks, right? You're going to have like any hit scan characters, any long range characters. So McCree is a Spam character, right? Then you have your on supports, right? You're going to have your Mercy, Zen, and Bap, right? Those are all Spam characters. Now, Spam, they like to play at a far distance, right? They're long range characters, and therefore the slower the fight goes, the more time they have to pew pew at a range, right? The longer it takes for someone to get to them, that means the more time they have to shoot because they have such a long range, right? Now, a brawl comp is any close range comp, right? It's any comp that makes up like that'd be their comp. They're running Orion Zarya. Those are brawl characters. Mei, Reaper, Genji's a brawl character, right? Moira's a brawl character, Lucio, right? Those are close range characters, and basically that means that they want to play real fast because they cannot shoot you at a distance, right? Reinhardt and Zarya cannot shoot you at the same distance that a Roadhog and a Sigma can, so that means that they want to play fast. And get close to you guys, right? The faster they play and the closer they get, the more of an advantage they have. That means that if we're running a spam and they're on a brawl, if they can get in on top of you guys, they win, or at least they have a big advantage. Or if we can tippy toe away from them and stay away, we win, right? So that's basic comps, how they work. Right now, we're kind of on a weird comp where we are half spam, half brawl, right? So we're it's kind of weird, right? So Sigma is mainly spam, but he's also a little bit of a brawl character. Roadhog is mainly spam, but he's a little bit of a brawl character. Moira is brawl. Doomfist is brawl with a little bit of dive, but we're not talking about dive at the moment. McCree is mainly a spam character, but he's also a little bit of a brawl. And then Ana is a brawl character. I mean, she can also dive, but she works probably worse with spam. So right now we're kind of half and half, I would say. Right, we have three brawl characters, 3 spam characters, whereas on the enemy team they have 4 brawl characters with 2 spam characters. So they just have a little bit more brawl than us, and we probably want to be careful because of that and play a little bit passive. And that's also going to mean especially Doomfist on your team comp feels a little bit out of place because he is like a super brawl character, and he wants to go in, right? And if you guys aren't going in with him, he's gonna have a little bit of a hard time. All right, so we're just talking about that's just, if he plays Doomfist, that's completely fine. I'm just talking about compositions and how they work together at the moment. You don't feel free to take it or leave that in terms of if you guys want to actually play it. Here, so now we're getting to like ult tracking and territory and ult planning territory. Here you guys have the combo of Flux High Noon, we actually high noon way too early, and so make sure McCree, or first off, somebody should be calling this out, right, communicating this, but also pay attention to tab, right, all of you, look at tab, pay attention to when we need to use it, because here McCree, right, you see Sigma's at 93, we can just wait a couple extra seconds, and then now he has Flux, and when he has Flux, that lifts them all up in the air. That what's good about that is it means that if they're not behind shields, they can't move behind shields, and it also keeps them stuck in place, which means that they can't run away from you, right? Which means that high noon flux is a perfect combo to do together, right? So here we end up high nooning, I believe, too early, right? So we actually high noon right now, right, before we flux, and then we flux second. Make sure we're comboing. I mean, we do combo here, but we also we flux here, and we actually see that they flux, but then we actually use it too early as well. Which I think we do because we're 1 HP over there, right? We can see that we're about to get killed. But we just use that way too early, which means that we lose out on the combo. So comboing our ultimates. All right, let's take a look at this. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4. One other thing to take a look at is the fact that we're pretty heavily losing this fight. So pay attention to that. So this is another thing that you guys can communicate within each other, right? You guys can tell each other this stuff, like by saying, "Hey guys, we won the fight. Hey guys, we lost the fight." But now I'm going to tell you how to tell whether or not you've won or lost. How to tell whether or not you won or lost a fight comes down to kill feed, right? When we watch kill feed, the top right corner of our screen, we see when we're up or down people. If we are up 1 to 2 people, that is an advantage. When we have an advantage, we can play more aggressively because they have less people to shoot at us, less people to tank, less people to heal. When we are up 2 to 3, that is a one fight. When we have won the fight, that means that we can play super aggressive because we want to look to push forwards and get stagger kills, right? Now, this also goes the exact. Oh, sorry. And also, when you've won a fight, you don't want to use ults because, of course, that would be over ulting and it's overkill. It doesn't do anything. When you are down 1 to 2, it goes also the opposite direction. When you're down 1 to 2, that is a disadvantage, right? That means that you might want to play a little bit more passive, but you didn't lose the fight yet. You're just losing the fight, right? Now, when you are down 2 to 3, that is a lost fight. When you are down that many people, you don't want to be using ults because that you're probably still not going to win the fight. Like in this instance, we're using a bunch of ults, but I would imagine we're still going to lose this fight unless we pull out some magic, which means that we want to just hold on to it so we have it for the next fight. We also want to look to get out if possible, and if we don't think that we can get out, we want to look to let them kill us, right? That way we don't stagger ourselves. I'm going to explain staggering real quick. Again, apologies if you know what staggering is, but this is just in case one of you does not know what staggering is. Staggering is basically any time that you die late. When you die late, that means that your team has two decisions. Either they wait for you, in which case you've just wasted a bunch of time, or if they don't wait for you, now they're going in when they're already at a disadvantage and they're more likely to lose that fight. And it could also start stagger trains where one person staggers and then someone else walks in by themselves and then they die, and then someone else walks in and they die, so that you kind of trickle in one by one, which isn't any fun, right? So at the moment, back to the fight, we're ulting here using two different ultimates when we're down a bunch of people, which maybe isn't the time where we want to be ulting, right? The other thing to pay attention to is there's a bunch of things to pay attention to here, right? So first off, we're down 1. Doomfist dies. Now we're down 2, right? They also trancing, so we're down 2 and they're using ults, right? There's a whole lot of things to go into whether or not you are winning or losing a fight, right? That's why 2 is the middleman, right? I'll explain that real quick. It goes 1 to 2 and then 2 to 3 because there's a bunch of other things that go into whether or not you're winning or losing. Which team has more ults? Which team is using more ults? Which team has closer spawns? Which team has more health? Which team has better positioning? At the moment, we are down 2 people. That means that we should at least be very hesitant to use ults. We also, at the moment, they are also using ults at the moment, right? They're using the trance, right? So it's a 6v4. They're using trance. We use high noon. That's fine. Actually, we actually used that faster than I thought we would there. So honestly, at the moment, that's just looking like maybe something to be very hesitant over. We could win off of this, but I would imagine we're not going to win off of this just because we don't combo the ultimates properly. All right, and then we're probably still going to lose this. Now, it's good that they're using ults, though. They just use a ton of unnecessary ults, right? Already won that fight, yet they used Echo and Blade, so that's really, really good for us. So for ult tracking, we know that the only ults that they have are Shatter and Grab, which is very important for your Sigma to know because he can stop both of those with an Eat or a block, right? So he has a lot of pressure on him this fight to stop those. We also want to make sure we're playing very split so we don't all get caught up on it. And then that's pretty much it. Now on our side, we don't have any. We have a Cole and a Doomfist ult, so we don't really have too much to combo here. We just want to make sure we're using our ults first. So let's skip forwards. Objective lost. Stop the payload. Okay, Hog connecting a lot with shields. Want to put a lot of effort into your hooks, as well as the fact, or just make sure. A lot of times, it's also going to be a really good idea to try to focus on other characters just besides tanks. In general, tanks aren't what you want to really be shooting at. Just that applies for all of you. Tanks have 2 to 3 times the health. They also have shields and tanking abilities, and on top of all that, they just don't do as much statistical output as other characters. Right? Tanks, though they are a very important role and they do a whole lot, they are there to basically create space for the other roles. Whereas DPS do the damage and supports do the healing. Tanks don't have statistical output to that extent. So tanks aren't what we want to shoot at. We want to shoot at DPS and supports, which means that we don't want to just be hooking Reinhardt all the time, because I've seen a whole lot of hooks that thrown out by you that have just connected with the shield, right? So make sure we're looking to hook other things besides shields. Now, it's not to say that we never shoot at tanks at all, right? We shoot at tanks when they're low. We shoot at tanks when they're out of position. We shoot at tanks when they're the only thing to shoot at. But other than that, when we have the option to, we try to go for something else. Alrighty. Nice hook. Very, very good. For some reason, the Reinhardt backed super far up, so we have 2 picks. We probably want to play super aggro here, right? Because we're up so many. We're up 3. Yep. Just run in. Very good job. Probably don't want to be using Doom ult though, right? Like we just talked about. This is an ult that we probably don't need to use. Were we low? Is that why we're trying to use it? No, you probably weren't gonna die, right? You just ulted when they were down 4 people, right? They have 2 people alive, so that ult just goes largely wasted, right? So you just want to make sure we're not doing that. Recap on ults, they have the same thing, but now we're gonna have nano, so we might want to, probably the best combo to go for would be to nano the hog, so that you get a nano whole hog going, which is a pretty powerful combo. But you could also go for a nano doomfist, which would be a pretty good secondary at the moment. So let's see what we do with that. Yep, play super aggro, really, really good. Get the echo as well. Oh. Don't be all you guys back here. Don't be afraid to push into spawn when you have such a significant advantage. When they are down so many people, you could literally be all the way up in their spawn and be safe, right? Because they're trickling out one by one. You could have very easily gotten the echo if all of you guys were up there shooting at her and helping out and killing, right? This is where you want to look to play this. You had won the fight, so this is where you get super aggressive so you can make them stagger. That wastes their time, then it can start stagger trains for them, as well as getting extra ult charge for you all with relatively little risk to yourself. Now, you don't want to stay in there for too long. You might want to back up pretty fast, right? So after you get the echo, that'd probably be a decent time to back up, but you definitely wanted to just chase down the echo there. But McCree, also make sure you're not walking too far ahead of your team there. All right, now we're regrouping. Oh, very nice hook. And they were forced to use the immortality, so now would probably be a good time to be using ultimates, like very soon here. Alright, so we use both our ults at pretty much the same time. Alright. So we all got grabbed, but pay attention to the fact that it was 3 of us that got grabbed. You might want to play a little bit more split than that, especially Ana. You might not want to be inside of your tanks when you know that's coming. Tanks, that's, it's pretty fine for you guys to be together. Honestly, if they grab both tanks, that's a win for you guys, because tanks are, like I just said before, the hardest things to kill and the easiest things to pocket by supports. So you guys are actually going to be really good, better off if they grab just both the tanks. So Ana just looked to play a little bit more split there. Doomfist, make sure that when you're going in, you're syncing up with your team, right? If you're going in when it's a 1v, like right here we go in when it is a 1v basically 1v like their entire team, right? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, so it's a 1v5. Look at where the rest of our team is, right? All the way back here. They can't help you, which basically means that you going in here is an instant death. You go in and you die. So we don't want to do that. We probably want to survive here because a 1 KD on a DPS is a pretty bad KD to have. So we want to make sure that when we're going in, it's when our team's distracting them or we have a way to escape, right? If our teams, for example, is like, if let's say our team is like on top of them, then that's a lot more acceptable. Or let's say they're in the choke here, right? That's a lot more acceptable. But here we just go in and then we die, right? So make sure we're going in when we have our team. Also look to, we can talk about this more when we go into the one-on-ones tomorrow morning, but make sure that you're using your abilities, one ability to get in, use uppercut, and then basically you're using another ability to get out. So you just make sure you're looking to get out too. Oh, McCree, make sure you're not getting that aggro. DPS here, just way too aggressive, right? Make sure you're sticking behind your tanks. You're not walking too far forwards. Here we roll in, and I'm going to almost guarantee that you die here. Make sure we're not getting that aggressive because you are going to die if you get aggressive. Even if you're trying to roll in here to maybe you're trying to save like Doomfist or something like that, that's still a bad play because if one person's doing something stupid, don't be stupid with them, right? Now, if your entire team is up here, go and be stupid, right? There's a saying by Jane, the Overwatch League coach, right? He says that when one person's doing something stupid, that's called feeding. When 6 people are doing something stupid, that's called a strategy. So if your entire team is up here with you, go ahead and do it. But if it's just you and Doomfist, that's stupid. Don't do it, right? Make sure you're not going in 1v4 because you're going to die here. Called it, right? But I mean, you probably could have called that too. Right, make sure we're not doing that because now that we're down 2 people. No, I like the decision to back up here. That's a pretty good decision. All right. Though maybe a good decision here would have been to wait because I would imagine right now you don't have enough firepower to really do anything with the flux, right? So even if you land a pretty massive flux, right? Like here it looks like you're about to get like 3 people with it or maybe even 4 people with it. Even if you land a pretty massive flux, you're down both your DPS, right? They're all the way back here. So you're not going to be able to capitalize off of that. Therefore, when you're down 2 people and you 4, basically you guys should be looking to back up, right? Give them some space. You can poke from here for a little bit, and then you can back up again, and you can poke from here for a little bit, right? Use the corners to your advantage, but we should not be going in and getting aggressive when we're down this many people, right? We just give them some space until we get our players back. Now let's watch this flux. Let's see does anything actually happen out of it, right? Right, we get one Zarya, and then nothing happens, right? So we don't really, we get a whole team, but then we still don't really accomplish very much. Now we use Nano as well. Does anything happen? Oh, we get a pick, but we're dead, right? And then they use a bunch of ults, and they just out-ult us, right? And we die, and lose the fight, right? So again, kind of predicted that just because we're engaging at the wrong time. Looked it back up, get your team back. We could have high noon, like we could have flux high noon there, right? If we had our McCree with us. So now this is a lost fight. You guys, if possible, should be looking to back up. Especially you guys, you could probably make it out. Ana, you probably can't make it out unless you tried to hide. So you should probably just let them kill you. Doomfist, you're safe, so you should just stay there, right? So let's see what happens. They actually, okay, now they're pushing you guys hard. You're probably not going to make it out. Alright, you make it out, that's fine. But Ana, you don't. Yep, that's fine. Alright, yep. Like I predicted. Reinhardt's really far forwards here, so really good job on the capitalizing on that. Still got to wait on our team, though. Alright, McCree rolling ahead of your team again. Just watch out, be careful about that. Nice hook. Good early ults, right? And then we won the fight pretty solidly. Really good. Want to play super aggro, go push them, get the extra kills. Yep, good. Perfectly played. All right, so let's just do a quick ults check here, right? Just get used to the process of ult tracking, ult planning. You have a good 20 seconds in between fights to do this, right? They have a BAP ult, and that's about it, right? Mid-fight, they're going to have, and this is something you can call, like if you know that they're just close but they won't have it, mid-fight they're going to have Shatter and Grav, right? That means that we just want to make sure we're playing passive when they use the lamp, and the window, and we're just being careful about it, as well as doing the same thing as we talked about last time with the other 2 ults. On our side, we have a High Noon, and we have a Doomfist ult, and that's it, right? So we just want to make sure we're looking to play off of those two, and try to use them probably earlier than they use their ults. Oh, what the heck? Reinhardt's coming from up top. Sigma, you should not be behind your whole team. Make sure that you're or like, I mean, this is on everyone. Everyone, make sure you're behind Sigma. Sigma, make sure you're not behind everyone, right? This is just a whole team wackiness out of order, right? Sigma, you need to be ahead of them. And if you're trying to be back here, everyone needs to be behind you, right? Make sure we're all doing that, because here everyone gets shattered because we're not in front of Sigma. And also Sigma, just make sure we're attempting to block shatter, because that is our job, right? And then a 4-man shatter is gonna end up losing us the fight, I would assume. Yep. And then we get blown up. So yeah, make sure you're not getting charged, trying not to get shattered. Pay attention to where your Sigma's positioned. Ana, make sure you're just letting them kill you. There's no way that you're getting a reset here, and usually Ana's not gonna like it. You're not gonna get too much value by staying alive behind them. So it's just much better for you if you just let them kill you now than if you just stay alive too long, because then that end up staggering you, right? You're just gonna die anyways, right? You're just gonna die anyways, so I almost guarantee it. Right? And you trying to stay alive is just gonna mean that you, no, did Reinhardt leave you? No, they still got you, right? So now that's a stagger, right? Let's watch it. So either they have to wait for you this a whole lot of time, or they walk in without you at a disadvantage, right? So that's just very not good. Make sure we're not staggering. Nice hook hog. And we have a whole bunch of ults. We have 5, almost 6 ults here. So we're going to want to make sure we're not over ulting. They also have 4 ults. Keep in mind, though, if they use 4 ults all at once, that's fine for us to respond with 4 ults, right? Because then we're even still, right? Don't feel like you have to use only 2 or 3 if they're in the process of using 5 or 6 or 4 or whatever, right? You can match them, right? You can even go 1 over, right? You could go, if they use 4, you could use 5 if you need to win the fight, and then now you're just coming into the next fight with a slight disadvantage, right? But if they're using 1 ult and you're using 6 ults, that's a problem, right? Big problem. Here we should probably be looking to combo something, right? We could combo Flux High Noon, or we could combo Nano Whole Hog, or even we could Nano High Noon. We should probably be pretty powerful, right? Or we could even combo Nano with a Doomfist ult, right? Any of those work, right? Just want to be going for something. Another combo is we could do a Flux Doomfist ult, right? That's also a pretty solid combo as well. You flux them up in the air, slam them on the ground, and Doomfist should be slamming at the exact same time that they hit the ground. I almost forgot that was a combo for a second because it's been so long since I played that. Okay. Problem. Make sure you guys are not engaging when your Ana's all the way here in spawn, because now she is not participating in the fight. Actually, never mind. I take that back. I forgot that we killed the Reinhardt early. Retract my statement. This is fine because you guys are even. You're 5-5. Not comboing any ults, right? We used Doomfist and High Noon, and we just talked about how we have like 4 or 5 different options to combo here, right? Nano High Noon, Nano Doomfist, Nano Hog, Sigma High Noon, Sigma Doomfist, right? Right there, that's 5 different combos we have. Yeah, we're not really comboing anything, which just means that they're going to be a lot less effective. And if anything, if we know that we're not comboing anything, try to hold on to the big combos. Like I probably say Flux High Noon is a pretty big combo, so if you're trying to like hold on to that, maybe don't use High Noon and just use like a whole hog right here with the Doomfist ult. Okay, get super aggro, go finish off the kills. Really good aggro aggression. Nice. We had a really slow approach there, Ana. Make sure you're coming in faster, and maybe like instead of like if you know that the whole fight's happening up here, rather than sitting over here and sniping, look to push forwards while you're shooting, right? So like do quick scopes or unscoped shots instead of scoped shots. That way you can approach faster. All right. Doomfist, it would probably be a good idea for you to set up here, right? This way you can drop on them from behind. You get a really nice surprise advantage without them knowing that you're there, right? And you can, dropping from a high ground is always going to be a really good idea. We can talk more and emphasize on that when we're on one-on-ones. Sigma, you seem to have I mean, just in general, you guys seem to have a little bit out of order positioning wise. Sigma, you are in the front of your team. You are the main tank of this team at the moment. Unless you had a Reinhardt or an Orisa, you are going to be the main tank, right? Make sure, therefore, you are in front of your team, not in the middle of team, as very often you seem to be in the middle of your team, right? You don't want to be in the middle of your team because you don't want to be there, right? Now, on top of that, I think that the best positioning would probably be over here where Sigma's at. So that means that McCree and Hog, you guys should not be this close, and we should probably be behind the Sigma, right? So make sure that we're kind of in the right orders here. Okay, Doomfist, I like good job going to the high grounds. Let's see, when do you engage here? Okay. Yeah, that's pretty decent timing. Again, McCree, pay attention to the fact that you're ahead of your whole team. Yeah, good job getting back out. Okay, okay, ults are all coming out. They have a grab dragon. Let's say we ult tracked in that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 people clumped up. That's an auto lose right there. We don't have any defensive ults. This means that we, right now, lose this fight because we did not split up. That is the only counter we have to that combo, unless we just chose to run in on them immediately before they get a chance to use their ults. So here we want to make sure that we are doing that. That way we can get away with, or that way we can actually win the fight. Because no matter how many ults we use one. Well, what are we using? We're using 4 other ultimates. Even if we use those 4 other ultimates, we lost because we did not do the ult countering phase, right? Just because of the ult game, we lose this fight. And I'm predicting that even before we use it. Okay, and we lose 1, 2, right? Everyone else is like 1 HP. Oh, so maybe there's a chance. No, we're dead. All right. So like I said, we lose just because we missed the ult countering phase. So you see the big importance, right? Big exclamation points here. You see the big massive importance behind the whole ult economy thing, right? Behind paying attention to ult tracking, paying attention to ult countering, and then also ult comboing, because there I don't think we even comboed any ults, right? Like for example, I think we nanoed the Doomfist when we had a whole hog going, where maybe we could have nanoed a whole hog, which would be more powerful than a nano Doomfist. And then on top of that, we didn't have anything to combo with the Flux, right? Because we used both of those in the last fight. Alright, so let's come back here. You guys are trying to run away. Let's see, do you guys get staggered? Ana, you jump off. McCree, you staggered, right? If you guys do not think you can get out, don't try to get out, because you just end up staggering and staggering and staggering, and then now that means you waste time. It means you're giving them ult charge. It means that you're not going to have a full regroup. Like this could potentially result in them just pushing cart all the way before you get a full regroup, right? Which would be really bad. That turns 2 fights, right? 1 fight over here, 1 fight over here, to 1 fight because you guys stagger, right? So McCree and Ana, you guys staggered. Moira, maybe stagger. No, you're good. Doomfist, make sure you're not pushing out a spawn if your team's not coming out with you, right? So that's technically staggering there. That I would count that as a stagger, right? When you're basically don't push forwards if your team is not with you, right? Pretty simple. Pay attention to your team. Be aware of your surroundings, because here we're pushing in when we don't need to. Reinhardt, pay attention to the fact that everyone on your team is dead, right? We have 2 people in spawn, 2 people dead, 1 person in spawn, 1 person 1 HP, 1 person in spawn, right? And we look how far away cart is, right? Look how much space cart has to go. This is a good, even if nobody touches cart, this is a good like 10 seconds, right? At minimum 10 seconds. But instead, we're walking out here immediately. We don't need to be walking out, because this is going to mean that we take unnecessary damage on our shield, and then potentially we end up just staggering ourselves, right? And Sigma, the same thing, right? You guys go out way too early, and then Sigma dies, and then Reinhardt potentially dies, right? You guys didn't need to touch that fast, yet we go anyways, and then we die. So big problem, team communication and coordination problems here on the 3rd point. Pay attention to the ult game and the ult economy, and also make sure that we're not continuously staggering, because there we did what you call stagger train, right? Start Ana staggered first, then McCree staggered, then Doomfist staggered, then Sigma staggered, then Reinhardt maybe staggered here at the end, right? So all of you guys just kept going in one by one by one by one by one, and then therefore you didn't get 2 fights, you got 1 fight and a half, right? And then I don't really have anything else to say about that lost fight because we just lost because we staggered, right? Oh, maybe we stall it out. All right, so we potentially stall this out. Somehow we recovered it. It's actually looking a lot better. Nice stall. McCree, just make sure you're shooting at something, even if even if it's at a shield. Just make sure you're shooting so you get the damage out there. I think Reinhardt was like right below you there, but maybe I misread the situation. McCree, look how close you got again. Right, pushing really far forwards. And apologies, just so we're all aware here, I'm not trying to target you or anything like that. Some mistakes are much more apparent than other mistakes are, and this is a very apparent mistake. Actually, you know what? What's his name? Havoc told me to make fun of you. He said, and I quote, he said, where is it? One request: make sure you criticize Rupert's a lot. So, bam, get criticized, man. Right, just make sure you're not inting into their team, right? We kind of roll straight in there, right? Running out in the open, right? Pay very close attention to cover. Let's just go over cover real quick for all of you guys after this game's done. But running super far out in the open, running into their team, and we die as a result, right? We're at 7 minutes 50 seconds. Let's talk about cover usage and just general positioning. Let's just go over that, right? Because this is something that applies to every character in the game, right? Do. So, if we are standing here, right, we're standing right here, and the enemy team is standing over there, it takes us 1, 2, 3 seconds to get behind cover. Now, from this point, right, you cannot shoot through solid objects. We're safe. We're good, right? You can't shoot through that, therefore we're safe. But in that time it took us to get here, we died. Now from here, we can do the exact same stuff, except for it takes us half of a second to duck behind cover, right? They're looking at us, now they can't see us. See us, can't see us, right? It takes us much less time, half a second versus 3 seconds. That means that therefore, good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover. Also, don't sprint into 6 people. 1v6 never works. 2v6 never works. 1v5 doesn't work. 1v4 doesn't work. 1v3 doesn't work. Maybe 1v2 will work. You can try maybe 1v2, but anything above that, don't go for it. Make sure you're not running into the middle of their team, right? That's going to kill you at almost every single time. Make sure, again, you're learning from your mistakes, right? If you're doing that, like, just as a general, I guess, never mind, I'll come back to that in a minute. Let's finish positioning, right? There's a ton of different types of cover. This axis cover, right? You have pillars, which you can go in between shots when you're reloading, when you're, when you're low or you're getting ulted at. You have corners that you can use, right? You have random objects you find sitting around, right? You have pillar, corner, doorway, corner, right? High ground is fantastic positioning, right? When we're up here, they can see us. Now they can't see us. He can see us. Now he can't see us, right? We had in a crouch, same thing, he can't see us. So all of high ground acts as natural cover, and on top of that, it also means 2/3 of the characters can't get up to you, right? Only a third of the characters can actually reach you, and then those characters require you to use abilities, right? Then on top of all that, you also have tons of visibility. We can see stuff over here, over here, over here, right? Over here, and over here, right? But if we're on the low ground here, right, we can't see over there, can't see over there, can't see over there, can't see over there, can't see any of the high grounds, right? High ground gives you a ton of visibility and a ton of survivability, so look to take high grounds as well, right? Now moving on, learning from your mistakes. So this is something that applies to all of you. How to self-improve. This is how you look to get better at the game. This is how I got better at the game. I was a silver player. I placed in 1800 when I first started playing. I'm not on my main account right now because I had a ton of game because I had a ton of like codes that were in my lobby and I didn't want to get confused there. But on my main account, social, right? My main account, I placed in silver, right? I climbed to plat, so that's I'm looking for my main account right now. But and okay, for some reason I'm not finding it. Do I not have it friended on? Okay, here it is, right? To Boogie. Right, in my first season, I ended up ending in plat, right? ended up in plat, right? But I climbed all the way up to 4468 and whatever season that was in, right? And back here, right? 4468 and hit a peak of that and multiple times in 4.4, right? Basically using this process, right? Big climb, learning how to self-improve, all self-taught. I didn't get coaching until after I'd already hit my peak, right? After I'd already gotten to 4468. Excuse me, sorry, I had to cough there. So, in any case, how you look to self-improve is you try to learn from your mistakes. So step one, identify the mistake, right? If you are rolling in and dying is a mistake, and if you are doing that like all the time and you notice that it never seems to work out, learn from that, right? Don't keep doing it. Say, maybe dying isn't good. Why am I dying? Oh, I'm rolling in. Okay, maybe I shouldn't roll in, right? There's a ton of things that go into die. Like, dying isn't the only mistake you can make, but is a big, very easy one to identify, right? Death has a couple different ways why you could die. You can misuse your abilities, like rolling into them. You could be out of position, like being in the middle of their team, right? Or out in the open. You could have poor awareness, or you could be way too aggressive. Rolling into them is like 3 of those, right? Or even 4 of those, right? You're misusing your ability, you're being out in the open, you're being in the middle of their team, you're not being aware of your surroundings, and you're playing way too aggressive, right? So that's like all 4 in a nutshell, right? So pay attention to what was my mistake. Death was the mistake. Rolling in was the mistake. Now, what is the solution? What could I have done instead? Where could I have been positioned instead? Well, maybe instead of being out in the open and rolling into them, right, maybe instead I could not roll into them and I could stand over here by cover, right? So if you have bad positioning, tell yourself, okay, where could I be standing instead, right? If we use poor ability usage, think, okay, what could I be doing with my abilities instead, right? So for number 1, identify the mistake. 2, identify the solution to the mistake. 3, look to apply that. Let's just talk about application real quick, right? How do you guys look to apply stuff? Because maybe something like awareness seems a little bit complex, right? And maybe it seems a little bit hard to improve on, to fix, right? So how does one look to get better at that and look to fix it? Well, the same way that you look to get better at anything you're trying to improve on, right? You essentially make sure that you're focusing on it, right? Making sure that you're actually thinking about it. So while you're playing, you're not autopiloting. You're not just focusing on winning, because sometimes if you're focusing on winning, you're not going to ever get better. You're just going to stay the same. Oh, I jumped off the map there. Right? You're going to always stay the same. You're not going to get better. So, what do? Well, you focus on the thing you're trying to improve on. So let's take awareness, for example, right? So our brain should look something like this, where we're going awareness, 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 right? And when we do that, you're going to notice that your awareness starts to look a little bit better than usual, right? It seems that your awareness is actually doing pretty solid, right? And when your awareness is doing better than usual, right? That means that your awareness is going to be better, right? And that means I just said the same thing twice, so let me continue. When your awareness is better and you're doing that for a long enough period of time, you're going to start to form it as a habit, right? And when you've started to form it as a habit, you no longer need to put in the same amount of attention and focus, and you don't need to give yourself as many reminders, and therefore you can put that into a different area, right? So now you can look at your mechanics or something else, right? Now, just as a quick warning, don't try to focus on everything all at once, because that will get overwhelming, right? So like I told you, don't try to do ult tracking, ult countering, and ult planning all at the same time, all to start off. Instead, focus at 1 to start, right? 1 category of things or 1 to 3 smaller things, right? That's just for each of you individually, not and then as a team, look to focus on a couple things at a time, right? Not everything all at once, because that's gonna get real confusing real fast. Okay, let's hop back into the game. Now we were on. I'm having a brain fart. King's Row.
Now entering King's Row, ready for battle.
I had some McCree fed. And then you guys finally pulled it back. Good job. Alright. Reinhardt looking for the back shatter. Ball, make sure you're not going in when there's nobody with you. All right. This does not seem to be communicated, Reinhardt. That's either your fault or your team's fault. Somebody's not paying attention, right? Look at where Reinhardt's at. Look at what he's trying to do. Look at where your whole team is, right? We have 4 people all the way over here. Tracer's in good positioning. Anna's probably in the most terrible positioning, right? Ash is like maybe a little bit better, but you should probably be a lot closer because you're not really going to do much from there if he lands a big shatter. If Reinhardt lands a shatter right now, nobody's able to follow up. Therefore, Reinhardt, make sure everyone's paying attention. Scream over them if you need to. Say, I'm back shattering. I'm back shattering. Look at me. Come forwards. Anna, come here. Right? You make sure you call it out. Be assertive. Let everyone know. And then everyone else, pay attention. If Tracer, if you see Reinhardt's going for a shatter and you see, oh snap, my team's not here, call it out for Reinhardt, right? This should be Reinhardt's call out, but someone else can also chip in and say it as well, right? Make sure you're on the same page because here Reinhardt's trying to go for a back shatter and nobody's going to be in position to actually help out with it, right? Massive shatter. Big, fat, massive shatter, but Anna's not in position. Ash is a little bit too far away, right? From up here, I probably would you'd be much better up like up here, right? Because back here we are going to have we don't have the best line of sight. We can only see like 2 things, and then on top of that, we actually have fall off damage, right? So we're doing less damage from here. Moira and Ball are a little bit late to the party, though they're better than Anna and Ash, right? And then Tracer and Ryan, you guys are fine. All right, so it worked out, but just keep in mind that could have gone pretty poorly because half of you weren't ready for it. All right, so skippity skip. Oh snap! I was thinking that I was in someone's POV, but it wasn't. All right, so we're running in. We are on a Bastion, Widowmaker, Monkey, Anna, Moria, Reinhardt. Okay, so I have no clue what you guys are trying to run. You guys are not. This is what you would call a hybrid composition, like we just talked about earlier. This does not really have a real objective because Bastion and Widow are spam characters. Anna, Moira, and Reinhardt are brawl characters. Monkey's a dive character. Monkey can maybe brawl a little bit, so at most I'd say maybe you're a brawl comp, but you're not. You're really a little bit of everything. So this is a pretty wacky comp. All right, and then notice the division in your team. We're a little bit split here. Reinhardt's kind of going in on his own, and then everyone else is really far. All right. That's kind of the problem with having a hybrid comp like this is Reinhardt's trying to brawl while you have the rest of your team playing really far back and spamming. Flash to make sure you're paying attention to Doomfist when you knew he was behind you. Anna, don't play that close, right? Pay attention to where your team's at. Just from a third-person point of view, so far, Anna, one of the bigger things that I've been noticing from you is your positioning. Is a lot of the time we're either way too far back or we're way too far forwards. So we'll definitely talk more on that when we're going over one-on-one stuff. But right now, for the moment, keep in mind that this is way too close. And pay attention to where the rest of your team's at. Right? They're all back there. We're up here. Therefore, they kill us. Right? And then because we lose that person, they have the potential to stall it, though I doubt they're gonna win. Yeah, they're not gonna get that. All right, so ults. Right, they just swapped some characters, right? They swapped Hog, they swapped Junk, so they have nothing but Cole and Visor, maybe mid-fight. We have a ton. We have Bastion, we have Nano, we have Cole, and we have Shatter. Probably the best combo to go for here would probably be the Nano Bastion and go for a Nano They don't even have any shields to block that. That would rip through them like, I'm not going to come up with an analogy because I'm bad at analogies. I'm not actually bad at analogies. I don't know what I'm talking about. Let's continue on, right? Probably want to go for the Nano Bastion here. Save Coalescence and save Shatter. I would say maybe use Coalescence if you need it, right? If you feel like you're about to lose. but it'd be real bad if we used more than if we use 3 or more ults here. Want to be pushing pretty aggro here. Pay attention to the fact that it's only 3 people. So actually, sorry, 4 people. I missed the Junkrat. So we want to be capitalizing here and going for those guys. I guess Reinhardt, are you paying attention to Junkrat or something? Yeah. All right, so that works. All right, so we use Bastional and we won the fight. So now we are only gonna have one more fight on this point. Now we should probably be looking to, let's see, probably just Nano Monkey in here probably would be like the best thing. Reinhardt, they're running a little bit of a spam comp, right? They're gonna be really far away from you guys, so nanoing Reinhardt might be a little bit hard, but nanoing Monkey would probably be really easy because you can just leap in, right? So Nano Monkey would be a really good option here, and then you can primal as well once he gets it because he'll get it really fast, and then we can maybe Cole again, right? Probably again, don't want to be going for a shatter here. That'd probably be overkill, right? On the enemy team, again, they don't have really anything. They have high noon and that's it. Okay, really, really good offense so far, even though we're on a real whack comp.
My will made real. Get into position. Gale the Mahal.
Monkey, make sure you're calling where soldiers at so our team can look to finish him. And then now I think we're going to talk about... are you guys winning that? Yeah, I guess we're winning that.
Gale the Mahal. This will heal you.
Alright. Alright. I think we're going to talk about some stuff for the tanks, question mark. Okay, so we Nano Bastion, which is also very valid. I forgot the fact that Nano Bastion's pretty insane even on its own, so that's no problem there, Ana. Problem with the Bastion ult. We won this fight. Bastion ult does nothing, right? A lot of overall ulting there, right? Bastion ult is not needed in any sense, because we could just pretty easily kill these guys even without an ultimate, right?
The payload has reached the checkpoint.
Right. Point. You guys don't need multiple people on point, right? On any payload point, you only need to cap. Basically, you need to win 2 fights in a row, right? We have the first fight, which happens around the choke or this kind of pathway here, right? And then the second fight, which happens around this choke or the end, right? You have the first fight, which happens around this corner. Second fight, which happens around this corner or the end, right? 2 fights roughly that you need to win in a row. If you get staggers, that's less fights. Like on, for example, over here, you only have to fight 1 fight because you staggered them on over here, right? Or if you guys lose, then you have to fight more. So that means that basically, whether you have 1 person on cart, or 3 people on cart, or 4 people on cart, does not make a difference. You're still going to fight 2 fights. So here, if you guys are trying to get stagger kills, you should probably have like 1 Ana sitting cart and everyone else push forward to help them out. Otherwise, Bastion and Monkey, you should not be this close because now you're just killing yourselves and feeding and now potentially losing this next fight or even just staggering yourselves when your team's not on the same page. So being out of sync here, make sure you guys are on the same page. I would probably say that it'd be best if these guys pushed forwards, right? Push forwards, get the stagger kills because something like Hog here is really easy to kill if we have 5 people looking at him, right? Now, if the only time you'd ever have more than 1 person on cart is if, let's say, you're like right here and you're about to cap point and you're trying to get it in before they can touch, right? That's where you can have 3 people on cart. All right, now we're catching up with them. We're helping them out. All right, good. We're staggering pretty hard. Yep, keep pushing. That's a good idea. Oh, McCree ends up dying. Unfortunate. Ana and Moira, right? One of you should be up a little bit closer. Don't need 2 people back here. Keep Ana on cart because Moira's a close range character. Moira, you're basically doing nothing right now. So Ana, you should be on cart right here. You can snipe everyone from here. Moira, you need to be closer so you can heal stuff, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Right now, you guys probably want to be regrouping since you're down 2 people. Bastion be like getting out because otherwise you're going to get hooked and die. Okay, Monkey's back now. You're good. All right, down 2. That's if you're down two people at the very beginning of a fight, that's pretty much a lost fight, right? Because you have no essentially you don't have it. The only time you can be down 2 and still win it is if you have an initial advantage. So if we talked about that all before, if you have a ton of ults, if you are using a ton of ults, if you are all full, if they're all if the enemy team's all 1 HP and you are down 2 people, you could still kill them very easily and win, right? If you have better positioning, if you have closer spawns, that it's still winnable. But at the moment, this is not a fight that we still want to be fighting because of the fact that we lost it. So let's see, do we back out? No, we don't. Okay, instead we use ults. Read the fight. Someone call it out. Make sure we're not ulting in this fight, and we're not even. We should be just letting them kill us there, Bastion, right? Not going in aggro, right? Because then we die, and then we waste the Bastion ult, right? So really, really pay attention to whether or not you're winning or losing. These guys, you should be backing up right now. Yep, good job. Don't leave it. Probably don't even peek it so you don't die. Alrighty. Pay attention to your high ground because that's a pretty popular spot to be sitting, right? So just pay attention to the Junkrat. Make sure someone's scouting it out, paying attention to it. Okay. Good nano boost on the Bastion. That's pretty decent. Make sure we're listening for the Junkrat and we're not letting him sneak up behind us. Good kills on the front line. Junkrat's okay. He didn't do anything. I don't know what he's doing. Good aggression, guys. Good ults. Junkrat snuck up behind you, right? Just pay attention to your surroundings, right? Because he's kind of sitting behind you for like a good 10, 15 seconds. Alright, nice. I like that. You're pushing up the door. That's good. Passion, look above you. Passion. All right, man. You gotta look up. Listen. Keep your ears open. Watch for the Mercy. All right. Look at this. Mercy flies up. We see her above us, and we just aren't looking at her. We're like, okay, we see the Moira, and the Mercy's still above us, and we don't hear her. We don't see her. All right. Mercy's still above us. We're not looking at her. Right. So you just want to make sure that when there's nothing else to shoot at, we're paying attention to our environment. So awareness is a big thing to pay attention to. All right. We want to make sure we're paying attention. Read the fight. This is a lost fight, Monkey. Should not be primeling here, right? It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6, and they have close spawns, right? This is a lost fight. You guys have 1, 2, 3, right? So you're down 2 people, and they have close spawns, right? Big disadvantage. Don't want to ult. A lot of that happening, right? A little bit early to be using Bastion ult, right? We probably would talk a lot about ults if we were doing one-on-ones here. They're so far away that they can just run away from you and probably you won't kill anything. If they're just able to run away from it, right? So just be careful you're not using it too early, right? Because they just were able to, they're able to kite it, right? They're able to just back up and get away from it. Watch out for the Junkrat. When you see somebody doing something once or twice, they'll probably keep repeating the pattern. So if Junkrat's hiding behind you in the last fight, watch for him in this fight because he's probably going to try to do the same thing again. So Ana, make sure you're paying attention. Everyone else, make sure you're paying attention so that he doesn't jump up behind and get a pick again. All right, because here, potentially gets a pick. Oh, yep, he gets a pick. All right, and then that means that you guys are dead. All right. He gets 2 picks, right? Pay attention to the Bastion, to the Junkrat, because he kind of he kind of wins that for them. Let's pay attention. What else happens? Yeah, the DPS flank, get behind us. Just want to pay attention to them. This is probably a lost fight because they have close respawns here. They're just gonna get out. Oh, unless we kill him fast enough. If we kill him fast enough here, we could get him. Nope, that's lost. For some reason, they used 2 ults, so that's actually really good for us. They did not need those ultimates, and they used them, so that's good, right? So let's do some ult tracking, ult planning, right? They have 1 Tire and a Valk. We have Nano. We just swapped a Reaper. We have a Monkey ult. We have a Shatter, right? They don't have any shields for a Shatter, so we could probably here just like Shatter Nano Monkey, right? Nano Monkey because we can get him his ult really fast, and that guarantees that he gets his primal off, right? So that'd probably be a good thing to go for. But I would also have no objections if we nanoed Reaper or Reinhardt, right? So that's just what we should be looking to do here. Junkrat's hiding above us. Oh, he backed up. Yeah, he's hiding in the room behind you. We really want to make sure paying attention to Junkrat on the tire because we need to focus it down, right? We can play split so it doesn't kill us, or we could look to destroy it before it does anything, right? Really fantastic. Great. Make sure we're looking to use Nano here, Ana, right? Just in general for you guys, right? Make sure we're not holding on to ults, right? This is a pretty winnable fight if we just use all our ults at once here, right? If this is the last fight, right? We know this is the last fight. We can just dump all our ults straight in here, right? We can just use all of them all at once, and then boom, we win the fight, right? On top of that, make sure you look to use your ults early, right? Like Ana, just make sure you're not holding on to it here, but you're using it earlier. Ults that are used first get more value than ults that are used second, right? So for example, they have, let's say both of us have Shatter, right? If we shatter first and we land a big fat, or sorry, let's say they land a big fat shatter, right? They land a big shatter, therefore we're down. They're gonna come in, they're gonna kill us. We're gonna be down people. Now, if we land the shatter afterwards, that's gonna mean that we just have less people to shoot into it, and therefore it doesn't get as much value. And on top of that, there's a better chance that we're gonna, if we hold on to it for too long, to like mid fight, we could just end up losing the fight before we even get a chance to use it. So in this scenario, we want to make sure we're just using Nano here because we don't end up using Nano. Make sure that if you know that the Junkrat's going to be coming in, getting you in your backline, make sure you're letting your team know, right? Like say, hey guys, pay attention. That's probably like on your Reaper Monkey because Reaper Monkey could just pretty easily leap up there to the high ground and get him, right? And then on top of that, make sure sticking closer to your team. If they ever have flankers, the easiest way to avoid a flanker is to stick inside of if you're inside of your team, right? If you're inside of your team, then he's not gonna be able to get you. If you're super far back here, that's how he gets you, right? To make sure we're closer to our team as well. They can help us. No, watch it deny the res, guys. Be very careful and make sure to get that. And then it looks like we get it. All right, good job. All right, let's get another code up here. Let me get that real quick. All right.
Now arriving at Ilios. Ready for battle.
All right, we are on the red team. Let's skip it forwards here. Oh, I didn't mean to skip that far.
Round one. Capture.
Alright, so we are on a full dive comp. They are on a brawl comp, right? With a little bit of a spam mixed in there, right? Reinhardt's brawl, Sims brawl, Zarya's brawl. Baptiste is a spam slash brawl. Hanzo combos well with the Zarya, but he's spam. And then Mercy spam. Alright, so we probably want to be looking to dive in here. I'm going to be paying attention to target priority. Okay, so for some reason, they're going all the way around the TP to point. Okay, good job. We're spreading around. Oh, Pat walks off the map. Good for you guys. Right now we're up a person. For some reason, their Moira is all the way over here. Good job, Ball, finding her out of position. Tracers in spawn for some reason. Make sure you're not, you're coming out with your team and you're not, lagging behind because that's going to put your team at a big disadvantage here. Right here, we could be up one, but instead we are even, right? Try not to focus. Oh, never mind. So we got Reinhardt. Good job. All right, pretty clean first fight. No big issues there. Real good. Let's see, where do we all position afterwards here? Oh, keep one person on point so you just cap it faster. Let's see, where do we position? Okay, high ground. Tracer's low ground. Monkey, you probably want to be high ground, right? Ball, you probably want to be high ground. Okay, so High ground positioning, we already talked about before, why it's so fantastic. Good cover, good good. The people can't get up to you, right? And then on top of that, you have a ton of visibility. But on top, even on top of both of those, there's two more things that high ground does for you. I know there's even more, right? Two other things. First off, high ground is not just good for us, but it's also good for the enemy team. So, for example, here, this is the enemy team's high ground. If we give this to them for free, they get all of those advantages. If we contest it, then now we've just ripped those advantages away from them and give it to ourselves, right? So high ground is good for both teams, and we want to take the high ground advantage away from their team. And the other thing to pay attention to here is the fact that dive characters benefit a ton from high ground, right? I probably say dive benefits the most from high ground, spam benefits probably about equally, and then brawl benefits the least from a high ground, though they do still benefit from a high ground. Here we are on a dive, and therefore high ground is fantastic positioning. And keep in mind, in between every single fight, you have like 20 seconds, so you have tons of time to reposition to the best place possible in between fights. Now, why is high ground good for dive? Well, it means that you can engage without needing to use abilities, right? So pay attention. So, for example, monkey and ball, right? You guys, if they're walking in below us or above us or whatever, right? We can just immediately drop in on top of them, right? Shoot them for a bit and then jump out or use grapple to get out, right? But if we're coming in through main, we might need grapple to engage, or we might need jump to engage, right? But dropping from the high ground means that we can just get out and get in very, very easily. And on top of that, you can just look to leap back to the high ground, which is, again, very fantastic positioning. So what your playstyle would look like is you just like kind of come in here, you drop, you shoot, you jump out, right? That's kind of how it would look to how it would work, right? Same thing with you, Doomfist. Fantastic positioning, great job being here, right? Because you can drop in with a punch or drop in with a slam, do something, uppercut, be safe and out on the high ground here, get healing, get your cooldowns back, and then just do it all over again, right? It's a good rotation. Here, tanks, you want to be on high ground, not on low ground, because that means there's a whole lot more benefits that you get. On top of that, they're pay attention to the fact that they're on Pharah and Echo. That would make it 2 times easier to actually reach them because now you're on the high ground, which puts you in range of them. Right? All right. Pretty uncoordinated dives there. We kind of went like Doomfist in, Monkey in, then Ball in. Kind of watch this, right? You kind of see how we go. Oh, I didn't go far enough back there, right? You can see how. Oh no, never mind. I didn't go far enough back again. Where the heck is the Doomfist at? Oh, and it put me all back to spawn. Come on, game. Let's rewatch this, right? So Doomfist goes in, then Monkey goes in, then Ball goes in, right? So watch this. Doomfist, right? Doomfist gets out, Doomfist dies. Monkey goes in, Monkey gets out, right? Now we do it again. Doomfist tries to go and he dies. Monkey goes in, right? Or kind of Tracer and Ball went in there as well, right? Monkey goes in, Ball's out, right? You tanks are uncoordinated here, right? Also, pay attention to the fact that you're kind of going on the tanks, right? We talked about target priority before. Dive is the easiest composition to get directly to their backline, yet we're kind of looking at the tanks here, right? So we want to be able to get on their backline. Pick out a target. Say, like just make sure you guys are paying attention to team comps because this is really important stuff. Good awareness of what their team comp is will allow us to be on the right things, right? Here, they're on a pretty good counter dive comp, right? So we have to say, okay, what's the easiest thing to dive? Well, obviously it's not going to be easy to dive Echo or Pharah. It's not going to be easy to dive the tanks. So we're looking at the supports. Bap has lamp, Moira has fade. We probably want to go for Bap because we can go in and he's going to lamp anything anyways. So we're going to have to destroy the lamp anyways. So you go in, you try to focus the Bap down, right? Or you can go in and maybe try to get the Moira, right? And then that's who we should be looking at. Here we're looking at the tanks. We're sitting on the front line and we're going in one by one. Try to count it down, right? Have somebody, usually it's going to be like the main tank, but it could also be Ball, it could be Tracer, it could be Doomfist. Someone say, we're going in on the BAP in 3, 2, 1. You count it down, you all go in together, right? You can do it fast if you need to. Go BAP, you're going on BAP, 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 right? everyone goes in, right? Just make sure we're coordinating it, we're communicating it. That way we're all going in together, not one by one. Alright. So here I'd like to see some composition changes. Yeah, we get the soldier. Honestly, dive might be okay. So we get the soldier for the fire echo. Oh, massive pulse, right? So we're bringing it back actually, right? We got enough. We staggered long enough to where we're actually killing things. Really great pulse. Good cleanup. All right. Now they're on a Reaper. They're off of the Pharah. Probably want to be tanks. You want to be back up on the high ground. Soldier, you wanna take this time to run all the way around to get up to your high ground. Also, fun little tech. You don't actually need to do that. You can stand on this little. This applies to anybody who wants to take the high ground. You can stand on this little blue thing, whatever you call that, a sign. You can jump from that to this ledge right here. It might take you a couple tries, but do it anyways. And then you can jump from there to up here. You just need to break the fence. So that's a way that you can actually jump up to the high ground at a faster rate than you can run all the way around here. And then you could also, if you needed to, you could try to helix it, but just be careful because this blue thing can break, and then you can actually get up. You cannot do that over here because there is no sign over here, but you can do it on this side of the map, right? So be aware of that. That's actually interesting because usually usually control points are like identical, but it's not here, which is pretty funny. All right, let's continue. Okay, let's see. Did they swap anything? They swapped Reaper. I'm probably not going to want to focus him, but we probably still want to go on the BAP and the Moria. Let's see. Who do we go on initially? Are we going in together? That's the big part of dive, is being coordinated on who we're going on. We come in, we dive, Monkey goes in, pay attention to the fact that half of our team's not ready and not in position, right? These three guys aren't anywhere near you, and Tracer and Ball just backed up. So we probably shouldn't be going in Monkey. Good job. We back, and then now Ball's going in, right? Just notice we're kind of going one by one. We want to go in all together, not one by one, but you get out really fast, so that's actually fine. All right, Ball going in is actually pretty fun there. All right, we back up. Good, good. But again, going in on his own, right? Just try to go in together, not one by one by one. Right? Because then you die, right? You die as a result of going in alone. Call it out, coordinate it. You have a ton of time. Like look at all this time where you're kind of where your team is backing up here. You say, is everyone like when everyone's backing up here and you're getting ready for the dive? You're saying like, is everyone ready? Right? Everyone goes like, yeah, yeah. You kind of like cheer in the background, right? Everyone you do kind of a check. You all ready? If somebody does not have cooldowns, like let's say Monkey, you don't have jump, say no, 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 don't go in. Give me 3 seconds, right? You say that, you give them a time, right? And then you say, okay, we're diving in 3, 2, 1, let's go, right? Make sure we're coordinating it. We're not going in one by one, and that way we're not dying, right? All right, ults, because we didn't really talk about ults here. We have a lot less comboable ults in this comp than we have in the past. But let's see. Let's look at the timing of some of them as well. Make sure that we're rallying a bit earlier, right? In general, again, remember we talked about how you want to use ults first. The fight has officially started. As soon as people are on top of each other brawling and picks are flying and things are happening, that's when the fight and ults are being used. That's when the fight has started. The fight has started now. We want to make sure we're using it early fight, not late fight. They have BAP, they have Echo, they have Cole. They also are coming up on grab and whole hog here, so we might just want to use a bunch here because they're going to have a bunch. As long as they use them, we should be fine. And we probably just want to make sure we're ulting first. Yeah, okay, so we actually do ult pretty fast there. That's good. Pay attention. We're very, very split here, right? Brig, pay attention to your team. Team, pay attention to your Brig, right? Both sides here, mainly Brig though. Pay attention, Ruperts. Oh, it's just stinging Ruperts, man. Ruperts, pay attention to your team again, right? Very, very poor awareness of your surroundings, right? If you have no teammates with you, right now we are 1, 2, 3. We're doing a 1 versus 5, basically, right? If these guys turn around, which means that we die. The Monkey's doing the same thing, so the Echo's doing the same thing, so Echo's probably going to die here too, unless she just gets away with after she gets out of her ult here. But basically, we're going to die. Almost guarantee we die here, right? And kill it. Get her. Yeah, and then we die. All right. Like I said, basically we're feeding there because we're going in 1v6. Pay attention to your team. Don't go in 1v6. Terrible idea, right? No, that's unfortunate. Sometimes you guys, you need to prioritize the dive over the counter dive. So here let's rewatch this for a little bit. We're coming in and we're using ults, but pay attention to the fact that everyone on our team turns to focus the echo, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think the Tracer does too. Actually, no, she doesn't. All right, so we have 3 people turn to focus the echo. Not necessary. Also, Monkey, you've jumped really far away for some reason. I don't know why like you're backing up so much. We back like all the way up for no reason here when we're full HP and we have our ult. Prioritize the dive over the counter dive here. You want to be going in aggro so you can get kills, not just going for the echo, because she has so much survivability, man. There's like almost zero. There's not zero, sorry. There's like 3% chance to actually kill her here just because she has primal and she can just fly away when she's done with it, right? So we want to just be in there fighting stuff rather than being all the way back here and helping these guys, right? But because we're so split here, look at how split you guys are. This is probably going to result in a lost fight, right? Because you guys are so split up. Right. Also, we're using primal and mines in a fight that's pretty much lost. Now, it looks like we actually do get 2 kills here, so somehow we're bringing it back, but, you know, that'll happen. All right, so somehow we're still winning this, so that's, you know, it does happen, right? I'm not saying it never happens. It's working with percentages, right? It's saying if we came in here, we have like a 30% chance of winning, right? And you have to go, is that worth it? Or should we just wait for the next fight where we have a 55% chance of winning or a 60% chance of winning, right? So we just kind of have to weigh the options here. Now, at this point, after you guys have gotten 2 picks, this is totally winnable. This is actually probably you have the advantage now because everyone's 1 HP. Tanks, you guys kind of carried. Really good job. But, oh, never mind. Maybe take it back. All right, let's see. You get it? All right. So you guys won. All right. So you guys pulled it back. That was a losing. I probably said that was you had a higher chance of losing that, but really good. No, I mean I don't have any objections if you win it anyways. Oh, snap! Stinking put me on the wrong map there. All right, so here you guys are on a dive again. Now you're on a Pharah. Probably don't want to run a Pharah if you have nothing that can heal her, right? This is kind of whack character to be running here because we don't have anything they can heal Pharah. Mora is a terrible combo with Pharah, and then Ana is pretty bad, right? You probably only ever want to run a Pharah if you have 3 characters. You need either a Mercy, a Brig, or Zenyatta. Otherwise, Pharah is going to be getting so little healing that she's going to die all the time, right? So I think the Pharah pick is fine. We just need to run something that combos with it, because sometimes we'll just like like once in a while we'll just run a random character that doesn't really seem to fit well with the comp, right? So here Pharah is just kind of the outlier, and then in the last game Bastion was kind of the outlier, and Doomfist was kind of the outlier, where like they didn't really fit too well with our comp because we're not synergizing anything with it, right? So it's not that they're bad characters, it's just that it's not really fitting too well with what we're running. So we need to change something so that it does fit well with what we're running, right? Now here we dive in, we get the Echo, really fantastic kill to start off. We're actually both on the same thing, so that's good. We're coordinated. Right. We're trying to get to the back line now, right? Make sure we're not just poking at the tanks forever here.
The objective is now active.
Monkey, you're just jumping straight up a lot of the time here. I'd probably like to see more like, you know, going for the back line. Especially like when ball's going in. Oh, wait, Echo's feeding. Really good job capitalizing on it. Good job. Okay, we got the hog as well. Right, go push, get aggro, aggro, aggro. Ana, you need to see that we got these guys and push forwards with them. Right? We don't want to sit back here. We all want to be pushing super hard right now. All right, Anna, pay attention to how far back you are, because here now we're just we're not really able to see anything. We're not able to do anything because look at how every single person's out of our line of sight and we can't do anything from here. Push forward so you can help out, especially when you see that you're up picks like that. All right, now they count. We kind of weren't all together, and now we're going in and we're losing it because we kind of didn't do that as a team. So make sure that if you're pushing, call it out. Someone say, hey, we're up 3. Or we're up 2, go, push aggro, right? And call it out, communicate it. You're going to find that a whole heck of a lot of our problems with our team play is our coordination and our communication, right? And how we're saying things to each other. Really good ult combo. I like that. We're going for the nano barrage here. Let's see, what do we have an ult? They're using mines. Yeah, okay, so really good ult combo there. I like it. Nano barrage kills a whole bunch. It's fantastic. Good ult combo. You guys brought it back real hard. All right. Huh. I wonder if the 3, like if he gave them to me, like he said he gave me 3 wins and 3 losses. I wonder if those are like in order. So I kind of want to get a lost game in here. So I guess let me just take a look at the next one and see. All right. Sorry, let me get this back. All right, so we have 2 ults. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 ults. So this is a fight at which we have a disadvantage. We just want to be careful. Make sure. I mean, we're probably not going to be split anyways. But playing split would counter reap roll. It would counter grab. So make sure we're playing split up. But hopefully that should be what we're doing on a dive anyways. If she gets more than like 1 or 2 people, we did something wrong. Be careful because they also might grab you as you're coming in, so we got to be careful of that and watchful for it and make sure paying attention to her grab. On top of that, we make sure paying attention to the Reaper ult. We can all focusing him down and kill him, and maybe we could pulse him. We could also primal him away from our team. They could sleep him, nade him, whatever, right? We have a bunch of different options for that, right? So Reaper ult shouldn't be too much of an issue here. And he's dead. Looks, you guys are this is kind of one of the role games. Make sure we're paying it whenever they have a mercy rate. Drill into your heads. Team comp dictates play style. When they are on a different team composition, they are going to be playing differently and they're going to have different things that they can do. So we have to be playing differently accordingly. When they have a mercy, pay attention to the fact they have mercy. It would be a very good habit for all of you to get into to press tab at the very beginning of the game and in between every single fight, right? That gives you a ton of information. If they have a Mercy, every time we get a kill, we have to watch out for the body and see, is Mercy going for the res? If she is, then we can kill her much, much easier. We can boop her or something like that, right? Okay, Reaper's running around in your back line, but we're running around in their back line. Okay, Reaper does a whole lot. Good job. Alright. I like it. I think that's just game over. Alright. Let me get another one up. We have another 30 minutes here. I kind of want to go over. Let's see. I'll check to see if this is if there's just another win, real quick, and then if it's another win, then I'm probably going to just skip over it, so we can get to a lost game. So this is so. All right, so we are team 2. We're team 2 here. Let's see. Do we actually win it? Team 2 wins. Okay, so we do win this one. Let me skip over to a lost game then. Let's see how long this is as well, because I wanna. Okay, this is 16 minutes. We might want to save this for next time then. Sorry, I'm just going through the codes to see which one would be best here to go over. Hopefully, it won't take too long.
Now arriving at Yijiang Tower, ready for.
All right, this is 10 minutes. Okay, so that's a lot shorter. Let's go over this then. All right, that's a lot different from 16. All right, so we are the red team here, and then let's skip on forwards.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All right, we are on a we're on a brawl composition, right? Doomfist is brawl. Diva is a dive character, but she's also pretty brawl. Reinhardt's brawl. Anna's brawl. Briggs brawl. Again, Rupert's here on the kind of. Or no, sorry, it wasn't always Rupert's. No, I take that back. It wasn't always he was on the off character, but Ash is kind of the off character here, where like Ash, yeah, she's pretty flexible. But she's a spam character. She doesn't really. She's not really a brawl character. So you might be better off on another brawl character. Junkrat, Reaper, May, McCree is pretty brawly. Any character that's just a closer range, you want to play that so that it synergizes well with your team comp. So you're not like just on that one off character. It seems like every comp you're on, you guys are always on like one really weird off character, right? Enemy team comp, they are on mainly a spam comp, right? They have Zen who's spam, Sigma who's spam, Bap who's spam, Diva who is a little bit of a mix of everything, right? Sombra who's a little bit of a mix. Doomfist, who's a brawl, right? So they're on mostly spam. They're pretty much a hybrid. So what does that mean? We just into them. We run into them. If we run into them, we win. If we play too passive, we lose, right? So we just want to run, 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 go, 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 all gas, no brakes, and we win. Now they're going top right here. All right, so here we have two things we could do. We could just run up behind them, but the second thing we could do is just wait for them to drop. I'd probably say that'd be like the best thing we could do here is just, just wait them out. Wait till they have to go to point eventually, right? We just wait for them to drop, and then we good. Team comp dictates playstyle. Be very now we know they have a Sombra. Got to be very, very careful of the hacks, right? Diva, that's pretty much your job. Pay attention to the Sombra because Diva is a big counter to the Sombra because of two main purposes. First off, she can cancel the hack super easily because she has such a big spread on her gun. She can just cancel it with one little tiny pellet, and it's very fast activation with no, she doesn't have any reload or anything. Reinhardt. And then, sorry, on top of that, you can also do what you call spy checking, which is basically when Sombra's invisible and we know they have a Sombra, we can just, like, Diva, you can just do circles and spin around and, like, look at corners where you know she's going to be in, right? So that you can try to basically decloak her, right? Reinhardt, make sure that you're being very, very ready to spin your shield around to cancel a hack, right? You can cancel your hack just by turning your shield in that direction. So just be ready to turn where your shield's at so that you can stop the hack from coming in, right? You guys have a couple ways to stop it, so look to stop it.
The objective is now active.
Okay, really good. Focusing on the Sigma. Okay, you guys are playing a little bit too passive. Brig, be right up on top of your Reinhardt. You're a brawl character. You're not a spam character or a dive character. You want to be basically in there fighting on stuff. So swing because that way you get value out of your bash. That way you get value out of your swinging, and whatnot. So make sure that we are on top of just basically standing on top of our Reinhardt here, right? Also, I'm finding I just realized that you guys are swapping around characters quite a bit. I guess you guys like to do that or something like that. But yeah, in any case, Brig, stay with your Reinhardt. We're also playing slightly passive here. We're playing a little bit slow, right? Just try to play really, really fast. Run into them. Go, go, go. Like right here, we have no reason. Just run straight into the Reinhardt. We have no reason to play passive. Or not the Reinhardt, the Sigma, right? All right, because we played a little bit too passive there, we also missed the charge. We end up being down a person. Alright, so this stinks because they have a Sombra, and the Sombra can just go and cap point. And we're also down a person. Preferably, though, you guys would be holding the choke here. Choke is a very good place to hold because it is and any choke acts as a funnel, right? Because you can pump all your damage into this tiny little area, and that's really good for you guys. And it means that you don't really they have to come to you, that you don't have to walk to them. Here we're positioning on point. I'd like to see you guys a lot closer because it means that we don't have to run anywhere. They have to come to us. We don't have to run forwards here. And we're on a brawl comp, remember, right? We're running into them. Okay. All right, they're on Doomfist. Ana, just make sure sticking inside of your team. Anytime they have someone who can get on top of you, stay inside of your team. That way, Break can stun them, Doomfist can stun them, right? You can sleep them. Reinhardt can swing on them. Ash can boop them, right? You have a whole lot of help. Reinhardt, pay attention to your team. You're going in when you don't have your team with you, right? You guys need to be a unit. Stick together, be on top of each other, and pay attention to when you don't have each other. So if you see that your whole team's going over on the Sombra, wait until they kill the Sombra, and then go in, right? All right. Unfortunate. We're dead. Pay attention to when you're winning or losing a fight, right? Right now we is a 1, 2, 3, or sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. Baby Diva counts as a half usually. That's an easy way to keep track of her. Versus a 1, 2, 3, and a half, right? So 5.5 versus 3.5. On top of that, we have multiple people who are low HP, right? We have our Doomfist who's half. We have our you who's half, right? So pay attention to when you're up or down people, because in this situation, I'd say you're probably at a disadvantage here. Now, this is a good you at this point, it's honestly you haven't. I don't think that you've lost the fight yet, but it's at the point where it's enough of a disadvantage to where you're going where you're hesitating with it, right? Where you're going, should I use it? Should I not use it? Right? Because here, Bob doesn't really do much. On top of that, when you use Bob, make sure Bob is going behind them, right? Bob essentially does the most when he is behind them because that creates what you call a crossfire effect. When he's behind them, that means that they're confused and they have to split their attention. Do we look at behind us or do we look at the team, right? Any confusion is good for us. And then also, if they don't look at Bob, he gets free reign, and if they don't look at us, we get free reign, right? Now here you guys lose anyways, it looks like. For some reason they're not pushing in the point. So they played really passive there and then that let you guys get back in time actually. So I don't know why didn't they just go and kill Bob, but that's good for you guys. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably not needed to do molts, right? Pay attention to whether or not you're winning or losing, because I probably would say that, oh, okay, that they baited out Trance, that's fine, but probably do molt wasn't needed. Because you were winning that fight anyways. Be in the same, be in sync with each other. Here we have 2 people on point, 2 people over here, 1 person over here, 1 person up here. You guys can't be all over the place. You're a brawl comp. Brawl comp sticks together. Only a spam comp. A spam comp can be a little bit split in certain scenarios, and a dive comp can play split, but a brawl comp needs to basically be on top of each other at all times. When you're not, then you lose a whole lot of value. Doomfist, you're going to die here because you're too far ahead of your team. Team, be with Doomfist, right? Because you guys probably should have been pushing that. Diva, that's fine. Do what you're doing. That's fine for you to be contesting the Sombra. Just try to be killing her faster here because you're out of the fight for a very long time. Team, just be up pushing. Don't be sitting on point super far back. All right. All right. Okay, they just use a bunch of ults. They use a ton, right? So that's good for us. Now they only have bomb, and we have bomb and maybe Bob. That's it. So we gotta be careful here because we don't have many ults. Reinhardt, make sure you're not charging it on your own, right? Again, don't try to same thing as we're talking about with Rupert. Don't go in 1v6. That's a lot that you're gonna die and you're gonna lose, right? Here we might end up dying. Oh, yeah, we die, right? Because we're out on our own in front and their whole team. Hey, stick together, stick together. Snap, that's unfortunate. You kind of got melted there. Where are Divas out of mech here? Yeah, not much you could have done about that. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to be skipping there. don't go back in when you're down people, right? Group up, be a whole team before you're going in. Don't ult when you're down your entire team, right? We're going in 1v6 again. We keep staggering. We're staggering. Okay, Reinhardt staggered. Now he's staggered again. Now Doomfist is going to probably stagger. All right, oh, he makes it out somehow. Right, probably should have died there, but just keep in mind, just because a mistake is not punished does not mean it is not a mistake, right? You should have very well died there. If you were at a higher rank, you would be dead, right? Because they'd hit one extra shot and you die. You don't want to say, oh well, I can get away with it at this rank, because then you're never gonna be able to hang at a higher rank. You're gonna get used to bad habits, whereas you want to build good habits. So if you do go into a higher level game, like a diamond game, you're gonna be able to hang with them because now you're making better decisions. There we probably should not have ulted. We probably should not have gone in that aggro because we would have died, but it was still a bad decision to ult anyways. All right, so now we swap the comp up. Now we're a little bit all over the place as well. We're on a Hog, which Hog doesn't really fit with very much because now we're on a Doomfist who is Brawl, Diva who is Dive slash Brawl, Hog who is Spam slash a little bit of Brawl, Ana who's Brawl, Break who's Brawl, Ash who's Spam. So we kind of left a little bit of the Brawl behind, which is not. I don't think that works to our comp as well as a Reinhardt would. But I get we're trying to do the counter dive. I think we're trying to counter the Doomfist and the Sombra a bit. So which is pretty fine, honestly. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm relooking at this, take back what I said. I think that this is pretty fine, especially if we're trying to just go for the counter dive here, because we have a lot of stuns. So I think that's what we're actually playing for. So that's really good. All right. So they use Doom ult, they use Sig ult. Watch this, because they might actually combo those ults. Pay attention, this is what we should be doing with combo ults. So they put us up, they slam, they put us down, and then they ult, right? That's a big, big combo. Look to use that, right? Combo your ults together. They just combo those ults. It's really powerful. Okay, now they just used a bunch of ults. We should not be ulting, we should just be grouping up. Good, good. Just group up, don't want to stagger too much. Brig, you just back out, or just let them kill you. Okay, we staggered a little bit there. Just try to die as fast as possible if you don't think you can get out. Alright, want to use a whole... We have 5 ults here, or 4 ults here. We want to be using them fast, not holding on to them. We have to touch point pretty fast here. Yep, good job using them. Like the bob placement. Good, good, good. Need to touch point. 2 seconds. Alright, we got it. Good job. Let's relook at that because I wasn't paying attention. I'm gonna. Oh, how did I get over here? Game, I wasn't over there. All right, so relooking at this, we're coming in with 1, 2, 3, 4 ults. They have 1, 2 ults. Okay, so problem. We over ult, right? So mission accomplished. We won the fight, but we actually over ulted here, and that comes from us not communicating ultimates. So this is bad because pay attention. We used 1, 2, 3, 4 ults, and they used 1 ult. They used just bomb, right? And then now next, we win the fight, but pay attention. Next fight, they're probably gonna win, right? So now we have maybe 1 ult this fight, right? We're gonna have that ult mid fight, but now they're coming in with 1 and then two ultimate fight, right? So they're gonna actually have probably a 2 ult advantage here, and even an EMP at the very beginning of the fight. So they're gonna have a big old advantage there, and we just want to maybe have held on to 1 or 2 ults there, because probably 4 ults wasn't necessary. So that's just again paying attention to the ult tracking and ult planning process there, right? Now we did get a stagger, so that's actually going to be really, really massive for us because now they're coming in down a person, right? That's really, really good. But this could still be a problem if they get an EMP off. All right, we got 2. Massive. Now we counteracted that, and we're good. I almost guarantee we won this fight now because we're up 2. It's still possible we lose, but there's a good chance we win now because of that. All right, Ash, really, really far. Rupert's, man. All right, really far. Oh, you can stand there? All right, man, you're teaching me stuff, right? I did not know you could stand up on top of that. But really far forwards should not be that close. Keep in mind that we're just, we're a mid-range character. Where's the one place they have to go? Everyone, right? There's a question for everyone. 2 point, right? They're about to touch. There's 4 seconds. They have to go point. So we probably should be putting the majority of our attention on point. Yet half of our team is focusing on this stuff main, and then they get the touch point for free, right? And then Reaper, you die because we're not, we're not paying attention to, or we're really, really far forwards when we probably shouldn't be that far forwards, all right? So we got to be careful of that. That we're not that far forwards. All right, we probably still win that. Oh. That's actually looking a lot closer. So why did we die? So first off, we lost Rupert at the beginning. I'm just going to reanalyze this since we're losing it. All right, they trance. That's fine. You push them away. Brig, you're all off on your own, so that's possibly not the best, but that's looking fine. All right, Doomfist, let's see, why did you die? Oh yeah, unfortunate. Just got melted. All right.
Meteor strike.
Yeah, really good. Just a lot of brawling right now. Honestly, not too much team play going in here. Make sure to focus the baby before she gets back in. Good, massive Doom ult. That's a pretty massive Sigma ult. Alright. So they come in and they use ults. Alright. So, I mean, I could call that me. So, what I said there probably does apply. They did have a pretty big advantage because of all those ults. But then also, I kind of think that we lost just the brawl fight, and some of us got picked when we shouldn't have gotten picked. And they just out-fragged us, to be honest. That was a pretty chaotic fight. There wasn't much communication or teamwork going in there. It was just you guys had to go pew-pew harder than they did, and we didn't. Right, that would probably be a good fight to go over, like in a one-on-one environment. Actually, all right. Now we're running Pharah here, and we're running a Brig with it, so that's actually fine, right? That's a pretty good combo. They have a Sombra Genji, right? So they have some big counters, right? We want to make sure gold tracking and planning, because Sombra, we need to get ready for the MP, right? For the MP, we stay spread. We don't have any ult counters, but we could, we could rally beforehand, because we could actually, if we rally like right before the EMP, that actually will continue on through the EMP and keep you guys alive. You have a ton of stuns. You have hook. You have your sleep. You have stun. You have a brig bash. You have the flashbang. So you have a ton of stuns that you can look to use for it, right? So we just want to make sure we're looking to counter it, right? So let's see. What do we do here in the first fight? Take point. Pharah, where are you at, man? On the open air, make sure that we're using cover in the sky, right? Same concept as we were talking about before with positioning. When we are out in the open, we're going to die. So what we do is we actually use cover in the sky. So that means using big objects. The reason why Pharah is so good on this map, besides just getting boops, is because you have this thing, right? This thing means that you have tons of natural cover in the sky where they start shooting at us. Boop, they can't see me, right? Therefore, you have a ton of survivability in the sky. Whereas right now, we don't actually have survivability because we're out in the open, right? So just make sure you're not on the open. All right, now actually let's do a quick review because of the things we talked about, right? So, number one, ult tracking, ult countering, and then ult planning, right? Get that combo down, assign it to some teammates, right? Don't feel like you have to go over all of them at once. Focus maybe on ult tracking to start off and then move up down the list, right? Moving on, make sure paying attention to whether or not a fight's won or lost, right? That impacted a whole lot of fights, right? 1 to 2 is a won or loss, 1 to 2 is an advantage or disadvantage. 2 to 3 is a won or lost fight. You play aggressive or passive accordingly, right? And then also you don't use ults in those fights. There's a lot of times where you ulted and lost in one fights. And then on top of all that, play super aggressive in a one fight and look to back out if possible in a lost fight. And If you can't, then let them kill you. There's a whole lot of staggering that happened. Make sure we're not staggering ourselves, right? We end up staggering quite a bit, and that meant that was very bad for us because we end up wasting a whole lot of time and losing a whole lot of potential fights. So make sure you're not walking out without your team, right? If your team's not there, don't go out of spawn, don't go around the corner, just stay back, play passive, and if you see that your whole team's dead, let them kill you or just try to get out so that you're not staggering yourself, all right? Um, on from there, we talked about a lot about the ult games, right? Making sure that we're paying attention to those, right? And well, Moira has two different colored eyes, man. My ADHD is acting up. What the heck? I never realized she had two different colored eyes. In any case, right? Make sure we're paying attention to the ults, right? We're not just calling the ults, but we're trying to counter them, right? Because that's how we actually stop them. Make sure we're not over ulting by ult planning, making sure that we're actually comboing ultimates together, right? Because a lot of I don't think I saw maybe go for like one combo the entire time. We didn't go for many combos when we had a ton of combos, right? So make sure we're comboing big important ultimates to get more value out of them, right? On top of that, stay together when you play your comps right. Stick together when you're on a brawl. You're fine to stay spread on a non-brawl. Pay attention to what comp they're on so we can play accordingly, right? Team comp dictates play style. Make sure that we are using proper positioning, right? Good positioning is the usage of cover, whereas bad positioning is the absence of cover. Make sure that on a dive we're taking the high grounds, right? And on any comp we're taking high grounds because high grounds fantastic positioning, right? On top of that, let's see what else is there to talk about. Um, Awareness. Pay attention to your surroundings. There are so many awareness mistakes on everyone's part, right? Make sure you're not running in on your own. There's a lot of, like, sorry, Rupert, calling you out, man. A lot of running on your part, but then also everyone else did it too. Don't run in when it's a 1v6, right? Do pay attention where your team's at. Stick with them. Don't go in when you're going in alone. Whole lot of times where all of you would just go in 1v6, right? And that's not going to work. Don't try it. Stick as a team, work together, call things, communicate. Almost all the things we talked about are things that you can call and communicate. So when you're up, when you've won or lost a fight, call it. Say, hey, we've lost the fight. No ults, no ults, right? Repeat it a couple different times. Say, lost fight, no ults, ults, right? One fight, no ults, 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 right? When you're calling the thing, you'd say like, okay, they don't have. Okay, I'm gonna move on to a different topic. I'm getting off topic there. Trying to think of anything else to talk about here. Um, hmm. Yep. Make sure you're just paying attention to flankers. A lot of times where we just weren't paying attention, and then we just ended up being out of the fight. And then I think that wraps up a lot of the main points. So yep, from there, tomorrow, let me know if any of you guys have any questions about this. I guess I'm just gonna hand the recording over to Havoc, and then he can hand it to you guys. Besides that, I'm gonna do the one-on-one tomorrow morning and get that to you guys as well. If any of you guys want one-on-one coaching, like, cause tomorrow I'm gonna do some one-on-one, but it's probably only gonna be like what I have 2 hours, so that's like 20 minutes each of you, right? For 6 people, yep, 20 minutes each. I might not have a ton of time. 20 minutes isn't a ton, so if you ever want just one-on-one regular with one of you guys, feel free to come and DM me, get me through Havoc. Like I said before, my Discord tag is Taboogie, TBOOGY, capital T, capital B. Make sure you cap those. Hashtag 6149, right? Message me. I'd be happy to do some coaching for you. Just keep in mind that it is paid, though I would say that I would, especially one-on-one coaching is my specialty, and hopefully you'll see that tomorrow. I do that slightly better than my team coaching, though not to say that was terrible or anything. If you liked what you saw, just feel free. I'd be happy to help you out, guys. In any case, good luck with your climbs, guys. See you later. Bye.